I'm a skeptic. I often don't believe in magic. I have these brief moments where you pull me in and I feel like it's real. And then I go back to my normal, like, magic is not real and magic is in movies. Welcome to the Pipaluk and Serafina podcast. We're so happy you're here. This is our topic for today. Pipaluk is going to share with us that magic is real, and I can't wait to hear about it.
So let me start with saying I'm a skeptic too. And I feel like that's going to be a lifelong process in this life, even with all the experiences I've had that tell me magic is real. And beyond that, it's effective. It is useful. It is an intrinsic part of humanity. And it is so needed. And yet there's this part of my brain that says, no, it's not real. And I'm always going to be working with this part of my brain, I feel. I mean, I hope not, but I feel that's the way. So to answer or respond to your statement of skepticism, perhaps today I can share with you some of the experiences that have helped me over and over again know and acknowledge and remember all about magic that I just said. Yeah.
Amazing. All right. So we've done some interviews with some amazing people in the past, which you can find on our other YouTube channel. And in all of those videos, we ask people what their definition of magic is. And Pipaluk, today I'm going to ask you what your definition of magic is. Hi, Finn. If you're seeing this on YouTube, we have the cutest big white poodle in the camera right now.
The floof. Yes. So my definition of magic, it's always going to be a working definition. I would say today it is the current that runs streams and flows through all of life. It is, I would say, everything about who we are. The stuff that connects us to one another, the stuff that helps us go above and beyond when needed. It is the pull and desire we feel when we look up at the stars. It is the moment of first breath. And it is also an energy that, some do it with more ease than others, but everyone can do it. That we can with intention, move and flow with and co-create with to bring about miracles. Mm-hmm. What we like to call miracles. Why not use a magical word? I feel weird using that word, but essentially that's what it is. It's everyday miracles.
Yeah. I see it. I was thinking about it as well. And we see it in the movie. Like, I always go to Harry Potter first for whatever reason.
I haven't seen that.
Popular. I haven't finished them either. I don't know. I might have made it to movie 6 or 5. I think there's 8. But it's to me an effortless, or like a way of bringing about change, something that you wish for, with ways that are not necessarily logical in the world that we live in right now.
Yeah. And in fact, however, are logical in a lot of countries, in a lot of places in the world, to a lot of people in this world, what we are discussing as something that is not logical is very much a part of everyday life, and very likely has been for more time of our existence as a species than not. And it's still surviving to this day. And I do feel there are specific reasons as to why it has this connotation of like, oh, it's illogical, or be skeptical, or, favor other ways of perceiving and being in the world over the magical way. Mm-hmm. But we can get into those maybe today, maybe another time. But there are some logical reasons for that. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back to our original.
Yeah. So your dog was lost in the mountains.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah.
No. No. Yes.
No. Quick. Why you are the perfect person to tell us why magic is real or works is because, to me, you've been working with magic since you were a child. You've been looking into it, you've been practicing, you've been exploring this realm, and you've gotten all the education over years and years and the training. And so you've really, and you've worked with clients, you've been teaching for many, many years now, and you've seen people change, you've seen magic work. So you're here to share some stories with us today.
Yeah. I've seen it change people's lives. And it's never, both in my own life and in my clients, it's never like a situation where you learn something new, that acquire something new. Like, for example, you're learning to drive and you need to go get access to a car, and then you're learning that skill. Rather, everyone I've worked with and everyone I've even met who thinks about working with me or going down this path of discovering magic, it's something they already feel inside themselves. Mm-hmm. And I know you and we also feel it inside of ourselves. It's already there. So a lot of the work is actually to break through the very powerful narrative of our culture, day and age, that it's not real.
Yeah. All right. And let's do 3 quick stories today where you've seen it's real. Let's start with story 1.
Yeah, let's start with your dog running away. You want to talk about that? How it all started? That's a difficult
one because, I know you've done, it's not the one where I feel like necessarily magic has worked. I think we have stronger ones.
Well, the thing is that
let's go
into mention it because it's such a
And so my dog ran away 2 days ago, and it was on a sunrise walk. I had her on a long leash, and I didn't catch her. I missed her by 10 centimeters before she went into the forest. She's 7 years old. She's never run away, and she chased after some deer, and I couldn't find her, and she was gone for 28 hours. We found her the day after with an infrared camera drone, a guy who's has a lot of experience searching for lost dogs, and in the end, it took him 3 hours. So he had a search dog that pointed him in the right direction of where the deer went, and he knew the behavior of the deer and how they play with dogs, and she was on that really long leash, so we knew that most likely...
On a harness,
thankfully. We knew she was most likely caught within round about 500 meters, because you can't get that far, and she made 0 sound in the forest. When I was searching for her, it wasn't further than 80 meters away from her, calling her, and she just made no sound. So
absolutely,
we needed the camera.
So the piece that I wanted to share was so it's not about magic getting her back, but magic as a participant in this experience, and a participant in getting her back, and particularly the part where in the evening, mm-hmm. I wanted to do a drum journey to see, feel where she is, how she's doing, and ask all the surrounding spirits, animals, trees, plants, to make sure that she's returned to her home. Mm. So it wasn't about like actively returning her, but like supporting in the ways I know that magic can support. And what happened was, because we don't face these kinds of emergencies regularly in our lives.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully. And so I knew, like, if I don't work with what I know now, then what's the point? If it's not practical and useful also in moments where you really need all the help you can get, because you don't know what's going on in the mountains, or if something at night will scare her and then she gets all wrapped up and strangled or whatnot. There's so many things that can happen and go wrong. And being lost on a leash is an emergency situation where you want to get the dog as fast as possible. So what happened was I procrastinated all night, because I have still to this day such a resistance from this narrative that it's stupid, it's silly, and what if it is real? Every time I risk experiencing magic being real, I have to get through a very real internal fear. Yeah.
Maybe I felt that because I know you've done this magic for me. There was a situation not too long ago. I for the life of me, I can't remember what it was, right? What it was. And I don't know if you did your magic sooner or it was somehow different, but it felt so much more powerful in that situation than it did with the dog. And maybe it was that procrastination or that what you were going through. Because I know, do you remember that moment, the last time you did it for me? I don't know if I was sick or...
I feel like, don't I always do it when it's really urgent?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. But I know with the dog, I procrastinated and then I ate 2 big eggs, which did not sit well in my belly at all. And so by the time it was maybe 11:30, really the last moment possible before I needed to go to sleep, I finally got out my drum, feeling terribly ill. And I went into a trance to feel Jeannie. And I very quickly, because I know your dog well, I know Jeannie well, picked up her energy and I could feel she was stuck and she was a bit afraid by that point in the dark, and that she was okay. And fueled by also the stupid eggs that I ate, I was doubting it so intensely. What if she's dead? So my brain was coming in. Mm-hmm. And it's also an example of, if you're not aligned in your body, it's much harder to connect. Mm-hmm. So if you're eating, for example, foods that are not aligned with your body, so that you can't, so your mind can't, or your souls can't fly, it's harder. So I felt her, and then I offered my prayers to all the spirits around, and by the end of the journey, I felt it was going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And I felt my brain just doubting like crazy.
Oh, that's wild. I did end up having a dream that I slept on the mountain in my car.
Yeah.
Too. And I had a dream that night that someone found her and that I had to bring another dog into my home. That was even more work than her.
Oh, no.
But I did have a dream that she would return to me.
So see how we might have connected. I don't know when you fell asleep either.
It was in and out all night.
In and out all night. So, and that's actually a magical trance state. And so on the next day she was found. But it's just the example of of how strong the narrative is that magic isn't real, and then how instantaneous it can be. For me, it comes also with a lot of training, but I don't know if it's always necessary to have that. I feel the training is what builds trust in the innate ability. And just how quickly I could see her stuck in the dark. I could feel her energy and her fear in that moment. So.
And I think we're connected. I think we're not always right, but usually we can sense it in our body, what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it would have been a very different feeling and experience if she would have gone off the cliff. And
absolutely. And we had stories, right? My partner was like, oh, I have a really bad feeling with the leash, really bad feeling. And you also spoke to someone who said, she might just be dead. It's pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did get this, but we did get logical input from others of what might have happened to her that went both ways.
Yeah.
And the feeling was the most accurate. I have another story.
And I had a gut feeling as to where she was. And in the end, she was somewhere where in the general area of where I thought she was. Yeah. Anyway, this all worked out. And I always appreciate when you do magic for me in situations. And sometimes, I can feel it. So yeah, that was story one.
That was story one. I had another one. So I was at this shamanic training in Denmark, and I was extremely sick. And there were two things that happened there. One was that at the very end of the training, she said, we'll do a healing circle for one person where the teacher said this, and she said, I'm going to go on a drum journey to get a helper animal for the person. And everyone else is going to be in a circle around and drum and support the trance. And whoever feels like they could need the healing, the shamanic healing, can come to me. And my ancestors, I knew it was them. They said, if you ask, you will get it. And I did, and I got it. I was the one that got the healing. I was not going to ask. I was thinking about it, but I was not going to ask. And then the ancestors came, and I just heard their voice saying, if you'll ask, you'll get it. And then the other one was that I was staying in an Airbnb that just had 4 parking spots outside. And every night they were fully parked because it's a residential little mini road. And so people park their cars there. And I was like, and parking spells have been the way in which I've again and again somehow proven to myself, for lack of a better phrasing, that magic is real. Like asking for parking in places where there's no parking. And that night I was like, I was so full of this self-doubt again. And I said, you know what, if magic is real, like all the spirits that be, I threw up my hands. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm ready to let go. All the spirits, everyone that can make sure there's a parking spot, let there be one. First of all, I'm sick. I can't walk all the way from the parking lot 10 minutes away. I really need it. And I also need to know magic is real. So if magic is real, let there be a parking spot. And it's the end of the day, at the end of a long day. So that's when people are already in bed and all parked out. And there was one. Where I want to go with this is that there's this interesting crossroads that when you come to it, where I've noticed time and time again, like magic, this energy that produces what we can call miracles, for lack of a better word, or like knowing, in a group of 25 people, right? You're going to get the healing if you ask. Like this knowing that I find miraculous as well. It is these moments when necessity, like a deep need for something, arrives or creates a crossroads with like whatever kind of energy. Like whatever. Like I let go completely. And deep desire, but I suppose the desire is the same as that necessity. Like the desire is so deep, it becomes a need, or it's an actual need. And then on the other side, it's like a letting go. Mm-hmm. And that's also what happened when I was preparing for birth the second time, where I felt the energy in the house is stuck. Like I'm not going to be able to enter into the deep trance states that are required to have a pain-free birth at home. This feeling of safety. And I was so pregnant and so tired and alone also with, our 2-year-old at the time. And I was sitting in my bed with this deep need because I knew I had to give birth. And I knew it's like such a moment you come to. And I I just sat there and was like, ancestors, this is too much. I can't, whatever is going on in this house, I can't deal with it. I need your help. And that night I had, a dream. Like, you can't control these things. You can't control your dream. And the dream was so real. And there was, ancestors working on my body in such a way that it woke me up in the middle of the night because I felt a full body rush from it. And I didn't even categorize it as something that was connected to my request. So these are just some examples of like all the times when it's, or the
no. Now we already have 4 stories. That's
okay.
excellent.
Like, okay, well, I can keep going. Let that be known.
I mean, with, I don't know, 15 years of working in this field, I'm sure you have many, many more stories. And if you listening out there want to hear more, please let us know. And in the comments, if you've experienced anything like this, please share. But I think as a final note for maybe all the skeptics or also the non-skeptics, it doesn't really matter. Do you have one tip for us, something that we can try where we can experience magic?
Yeah. So the tip is that when you open up to magic being real in a way where you're actually taking a practical step, like sending out a prayer, making a spell, closing your eyes and feeling where this lost dog is and how they're doing if they're still alive, whatever it is, asking for, something you really need through a way that is considered magical, which is working with that unseen, but actually it is very seen once you open up to it, but that unseen life energy, for lack of a better word, or web. So there's a great risk that comes with it that is not to be underestimated. And the risk is that the view of the world, the perception of the world that you have now completely falls apart. Because the story is, right?
But what's the tip? Are you going to come back to that?
Yes. The story is that everything that you can, that is linear, that makes sense, that is logical, that can be touched, measured, quantified, that is more important, more valid, more real than magic. Magic being prayer, also the arts, like the way they touch you and so forth. And so the tip is to be aware, the next time, or even right now, if there's something you deeply desire, be aware of how you hold on to the worldview you currently have and how this grip stops you from risking that worldview, as in bringing in a big dose of magic. And I don't mean just, I'm going to get that crystal. Like, that's very popular. That's being sold to us. Like, buy a crystal or do a candle spell, like do these little physical things or put on your lucky socks. But instead, like, the risk of showing up with all your emotional force to the moment, if that makes sense.
No, I'm confused. What am I doing? What is my action? Okay, I want to experience magic today. What is my action? Make it basic and clear.
Well, experience magic. That's like, is there something that you deeply want or need at this time?
I'm blanking.
You're blanking. So something that you deeply want or need, feel into that. Like, even that alone is an act of magic, because we hide our desires from ourselves. So I guess if you want to experience magic today, take the risk of feeling something you deeply want or desire. Underneath it all, we all have things we deeply want or desire that are essentially good. They're life affirming, and yet we're afraid of them. And I feel this is a point where magic begins. Like a dream that is so wild that you like push it down whenever it comes.
But that sounds next level. That sounds really hard because I know you have some dreams and they haven't come true yet, and you know magic. So
it's the act of feeling it. The act of just feeling those dreams.
Okay, we have a little child in the audio.
Yeah. It's the act of feeling those dreams. Like, of course, I'm still in process. And magic is not about manifestation, like making it all real and happen. It's like the first step towards it is even allowing yourself to feel it. And it lives like
So
an
maybe the
easy way
basic
to access it is through desire.
Yeah. And you're making it sound really big, but you can start with the small things like the car parking spot.
The car parking. Yeah. That's my favorite for when I'm really doubting it. But I have to come to it, those spells, with this deep emotion, if you get what I mean. Like an emotion to experience magic as real in an unlikely scenario. The deep yearning I have for that, which is something, we have also in our childhood. Like we so desire magic to be real. Those of us growing up in this society and culture, and we're told, yeah, it's just in movies. And so it already then becomes a thing like, but can I desire it as real? Like it feels so natural, but then I'm kind of made fun of for that in some ways. So it becomes something like that you repress, that is kind of not safe if you want to belong. So you will come up against those, like that sense of taking a big risk in something as simple as speaking to the spirits of parking spots and asking them to leave you a parking spot in an unlikely area at an unlikely time.
All right. Okay. And you can try this also with, certain conversations we want to have at work or.
Yeah. Another one that's really fun is.
What are some easy examples real quick?
Okay. Yeah. If you go to a party, or you're around a lot of people and there's a kind of folklore saying that 1 out of 7 people is a magical person or a witch. And so if you go to somewhere where there's more than 7 people, and then you can ask the spirits, let that person be known to me. That's a fun one. And then see what happens as a result.
Try that at the office.
At the office, yeah.
Magic people.
Or another one is also if you have a really big question and then you just put out into the world. And you might already have, a decision or whatever, but perhaps you have a big decision you've already made, and then you ask, let there be 3 signs that either, confirm or the opposite of that, my decision, and then see what comes back. So I think like the first steps is to enter into relationship with this energy that is already present, with this web of life that flows in so many ways. It also, another part is like just going to a tree and speaking to a tree. What do you notice? Stand in front of a tree, close your eyes and breathe, connect with the tree, and then go up to the tree and lean against it with your back after you've made that first connection, and breathe and notice all the images, all the sensations, all the feelings that come. And you'll start to notice you can be in communion and communication with that tree.
All right. Amazing. Okay. So there's many different ways, but try this out. Let us know if it worked for you. If yes, please share. And if you're a skeptic and if it doesn't work for you, we want you to write to us even more so we can dive in deeper. If you respond to us and you have a specific question or something that's not working out, we'll dig into that.
We're curious.
We're curious. And if you do have something that you really want to make happen, you can't do it on your own, or you need some support, you can always book a free compass call with Pipaluk, and you can figure out if she can guide you along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I offer this apprenticeship, and it's a way a pathway that is big to start living with magic in the day to day. And this is as someone who's been walking this path for many, many years now. Yeah.
You've had clients who've really changed their lives in big ways.
Big ways. And
True,
beautiful. Yeah.
I've met some of them. Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for listening today. Let us know if you enjoyed this podcast episode. If you have any feedback, reach out, and we'd love to hear from you. And we wish you all a beautiful day.
See you soon.